we're about to come to air. There's a knock on the door, and our fabric that we've been waiting since January for has finally arrived. Hooray! Poor Hannah at Lewis and Irene has been, I don't know if it's better or worse that she learnt that there's a tracking system to track the ships that had the Lewis and Irene fabric on, and she's basically been watching it go back and forth past them in Southampton. Go, anytime you want to dock. Oh, crikey, that needs an oil, doesn't it? Anytime you want to dock, feel free, So this is finally arrived. This has finally arrived. As you can, I mean, literally, that's Inga opened the door to just pass Maureen out the boxes. So we have got it all ready to go live. So as I show them to you, you can buy these by the ½ meter, and then by next week we will get them into collections if there's, you know, if that's how you would rather do it. Oh my goodness me. And then we might have got a bit overexcited with the ½ meter, heavens. And then we'll hop on with old Bunny.
Yeah.
Yay!
Very good, Natasha.
Yeah.
Hop on.
Half pint, you cannot be near the fabrics. So bye.
Let's take you.
There you go.
Ooh, beautiful girl.
Okay, so let's start here, shall we? There we go. I will actually find you lot as well at some point. Oh, live, happening now. That's us, Jane, happening now. Live video.
We're there.
Oh, no, don't start a live video. Goodness sakes, no. Don't want to do that. I don't know what would happen. I don't know how many. Right, so here we go. This has got gold metallic in it. Is this part of the fairy range? I think it is.
It's called fairy something, isn't it?
Fairy something. I mean, that's how fresh it is. We don't actually know. This is your blender. It's got gold metallic spot in it. Fairy clocks. Of course, it's all of the clocks that you blow at. These ones, what are they called?
Dandelion clocks.
That's it. Thanks, Jane. You can just supply the words that I have yet to remember today.
That is a beautiful soft blue.
Isn't it? It's a bluey grey gorgeousness. Ah, yes. Let's have a little look here. Isn't that beautiful?
That's gorgeous.
It is, isn't it? I think what I'm going to do, Jane, is as we rip all of these off, because you will start to see, so this is the pink version there. Still got its wrapper on. Yeah, you can start to see now, can't you?
It's got a bit of an ombre to it, isn't it?
It does have an ombre. It is upside down currently. But you know how they have those really beautiful seed pockets?
Yes.
That's the pinky, it's almost like a delicate raspberry tone. And you see, so this is the brown version. Again, upside down, well done me. With the gold metallic. Hannah does like a metallic, doesn't she? Now then. Ha-ha! Ping! Look at that. I'm going to pop that there.
That's beautiful.
Oh, hang on. We got... Which way? I appear to be unravelling it monstrously for everyone. There we go. Have a little look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And then I can discreetly unwrap the next one.
It's really pretty. It's got little daisies and dandelion clocks and like cowslips. Oh, it's really pretty.
So those circles that we saw in that soft blue are going to be echoed beautifully here. Now, the first thing that Jane said to me with this one is, think of a girl's little dress. And I'll come overhead actually, I think, with this one, because this is a beautiful double-ended one.
It's a border print.
Yeah, that's the one, border print. Isn't it beautiful?
You could just have that as a tablecloth in your garden on your summer table.
But look how all of these colours start to go. It's a really pretty collection, isn't it? So we're getting those soft, hazy tones, aren't we, coming through here, in your pinks and your purples. But they all, I mean, even if I just make a little way there, you can just see how all of these are going to come together. We can put these into collections for you, but just crack on first of all and get you know, get what you want by the ½ metre. Oh, look at this, look at this. Gemma said, are you sure you want to show all of this? Yes! People won't mind, they're beautiful. That's what we're all here for, isn't it? It's the fabric.
Definitely.
So, for sure, for sure.
Resist a bit of beautiful fabric.
I mean, it would be rude, wouldn't it? There we go, let me do that. Come on. It's because I'm having to reach. There.
That's so pretty. It's so delicate.
Jane, what would you be doing with all of these?
Oh, I just
apart from stroking them.
Well, yes, gorgeous quilt. Gorgeous quilt.
So for what age bracket?
Me.
Yeah,
Just
me.
For me.
It's all about me.
Yes,
Nobody
for
else.
me.
I think that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it works for anybody, doesn't it? I mean, it'd make a lovely little girl's quilt, or it would make a beautiful grown-up girl's quilt. It's soft enough to be, you know, in anybody's decor.
Dressmaking with that actually would be rather lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know that we are going to have to.
Oh, look at that.
I know.
That's so pretty.
We're all going to have.
Pale version, isn't it, of that lovely raspberry brownie colour that you showed before.
So you, yeah, you will have to submit to the wrath of Emily because we opened the fabrics without her. Soz.
I might be gone before she comes home from school.
She didn't sleep very night, so she's last night as well. So she's proper
Call
grumpy.
me a coward if you like, but yeah, I might be gone.
Can't imagine why, Jane. Small grumpy person. What could be better? Look at this
morning.
Huh?
We had a lovely conversation this morning.
She was chatty as,
she
wasn't she?
She was wide awake.
She was saying to me at 5:30 this morning, "Where is my friend Jane? I love her."
Oh, bless her.
That was the conversation this morning about how much she loved you. There, look at that.
Oh, that's nice.
So that is your fairy clocks. I think they are fairly nice.
Oh, dear.
Actually, they're more than fairly nice, aren't they? They're really rather gorgeous.
lovely.
Now, the next ones to show you are all glow in the dark. Hurrah, hurrah. Who does not love a bit of glow in the dark? I love glow in the dark. Did you know that you have to charge it?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. So, and it only became apparent to us that we hadn't actually ever said. And Gemma said, but everybody knows that, don't they? And I'm like, no, you are the mother of little girls who have had many glow-in-the-dark things. But if you're new to glow-in-the-dark, basically it's kind of UV activated. So is the best way to describe it without getting technical. So you have to leave it out in daylight, which sort of charges it,
Right.
and then at night time. So someone took theirs straight out the packet and obviously then turned off all the lights and then went, your glow-in-the-dark doesn't work. We're like, no, you've got to charge. I think they thought we were mad,
Yeah,
but it is an actual
daylight
thing.
For a while.
Yeah, you do actually have to charge it. I'm just going to pop that down there, and then swap over because Gemma wants those back. Bet she does. Bet she does. So they are. Now this is a horoscopy one, but it's rather sweet. I do like this. So, but yeah, basically all the whitey bits that you see. I've got all the words today. All the whitey bits. All the whitey bits. There we go. Are glow in the dark. Hurrah.
How exciting.
So yeah, so you can have Capricorn and Taurus, Sagittarius, Pisces, Gemini, all of them with some stars glowing everywhere.
Should we have these lights on?
No,
Because they make seeing it casting a shadow over, but I think it's just that one, isn't it?
it's this pile here casting a shadow over there. Those ones turn the fabric yellow. It's very technical, isn't it?
Yeah.
These look like Catherine wheels and things, don't they?
It's sparkly, aren't they?
They're great, aren't they? Lovely. But again, this is all giving you a star theme and rather fabulous here. They've done quite a lot of glow-in-the-dark stuff, Lewis and Irene, and I have to say, Freddie loves, I've made him so much stuff with glow-in-the-dark things.
I mean, boys love it, don't they?
He just
They
loves
love
it.
that.
Yeah.
Technical.
And now he's got his bunk bed as well.
Oh.
He climbs up top and he's got the glow-in-the-dark stars up the top and his glow-in-the-dark Lewis and Irene stuff, and he just sits up there glowing
Yeah.
merrily. This is rather, I like that how they've done like a soft tone here as well. Sort of a peachy colour with your moon, half moon, full moon, total eclipse.
Lovely.
Which is rather gorgeous. We will have to have a proper good look at these, won't we, with projects and everything. Yes. But grab what you want now. Like I say, they have literally just 5-2 whilst I was trying to turn on all of the microphones and everything else, and Josh was saying, can we do a mic check please, Natasha? I'm like, I lost my microphone, everything. It was all going on this morning. So they are your glow in the darks. Look, we've got 3 different colourways. You've got a grey, that gorgeous, don't even know what to describe it really, apart from peachy colour, and your navy. They're rather special. Then you've got these that look like fireworks almost. And then you've got that. Fabulous.
Gorgeous.
Could be baby quilts as well, couldn't it? I mean, this is one that is going to transcend all genders, I think, as does the universe, quite frankly.
Well, yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
We all have a little bit of moon gazing.
Well, and we're all made of stars. Exactly. Is the other thing that I realised the other day. We're made up of the exact same thing as stars.
Did you want to show these loveliness as well?
Oh my
not
goodness!
Lewis and Irene, but it's a little
it's
bit
not
more
Lewis and Irene, but these are. Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right. These are the latest Lisas to arrive. So I think you might have seen. Have you seen this? No, we've had it in the dark.
It's the one you made the bag with, isn't it?
But I'm not sure if you've seen it in this colourway. Oh, hang on, just got to. So you've seen it in the darker colour, but that's it in the lighter. So that has just arrived. This, of course, works beautifully with, and I'm not sure if we're now out of stock of this and having to order more from Lisa, but just, you know, we had the green as well, the green version of that. How beautifully does that work?
It looks really nice.
Doesn't it? Doesn't it? And then if you mix it through with the green, it's just beautiful. It looks woven. It's so clever. And then the last one to show you, oh, this is pretty too, is that. And of course, with all of Lisa's gold detailing on there as well. She's frantically getting ready for her exhibition, so she should be in bed having an early night tonight and not watching us. Yes. So there they are.
She's lucky that she's having exhibitions. Mind you, they've managed their virus quite well, haven't they, in Australia? In places. They
go into area lockdowns very, very quickly, and of course they've got more space anyway. Yes. But they'll go into a lockdown where they're only allowed to travel a maximum of 5 kilometres. Yeah. So they've just done it differently to us. I don't know what happens if you live in the outback and you're only allowed to travel 5 kilometres. What if that doesn't even get you to your local Tesco? What happens then?
It might not even get you to the end of your drive in some
Well, it might. That's just it. What happens, Lisa? What happens? What happens then? Let's see who we've got this morning, because we've been very remiss and we haven't said good morning. How very rude of us, Jane. Rude. Tracy and Joe, good morning, and Elizabeth, good morning, and Daryl, hi, and Rona, morning, lovely ladies, loving the bunny. Everybody's loving the bunny. I already was getting messages this morning saying, where are the kits? Where are the kits? Are we having kits for the bunny? Yes, we're having kits for the bunny. We've got a Liberty kit and we've got a Cave kit. I don't know if I can say that many times over. Good morning. Are you sure you've got enough fabric on the table? Where is the strong table? Fit more, I'm sure. Morning, Kaz. Pam says, oh, it's Stitchy Witchy Wednesday. Yay! Morning, Natasha, and all lovely sunny day here in Hampshire. Excellent. Good morning, Jacqueline. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Grace. Morning, everyone. Back to our happy place, including pets. Well, bring them along. Janet and Sue and Rachel, good morning, and Sue and Myra, hello, and Roma and Joe and Alison and Margaret, good morning, and Deborah and Mandy and Carol, hello, and Jackie, oh, Pam's trying to sit on her hands, and Val, good morning, and Jill and Sandra and Tony, good morning, and Sonia, hello. Oh, I forgot oh man, I forgot about this. Well, Jane, this is your fault, and I'm blaming you entirely. Gemma, you are not to lift those. You sure?
I'm getting them put in a box and then Inga will come and get them.
Right. Why am I blaming Jane for this? Oh yeah, because you bought rabbits. That was it. That's the tenuous link. That was it. Jane was doing a rabbit. I found rabbity fleece and went, yes! And also because so many of you are having grandchildren and great-grandchildren and all this sort of thing, you need rabbity fleece in your life.
Although Inga wants a jumpsuit.
Oh yeah, and no, Inga does want a jumpsuit. We might look like the Teletubbies if we all had those. We would look like the Teletubbies. If Teletubbies did rabbity fleece outfits, that'd be us. Yeah, she wants like a lounge suit, doesn't she, in it? Slash onesie. Slash jumpsy. That's what I'm going to call it. She wants a jumpsy, Gemma. It's ridiculously gorgeous and very, very soft. You see, the beauty of this is all you need to do is monogram it.
Yes.
Whack a pretty binding round. Bosh, job done.
Yeah.
You can dressmate with it.
You could put it on the back of a quilt.
You could.
You could make the bunny the centre of your quilt, put borders around it, slap that on the back.
Is exactly my thinking. Hence why I bought a lot of it. So it's there for you, should you wish. So yes, Claire, I can get more on my desk.
There's always room for more.
If I try really hard. Yesterday, Jane, I'm firmly laying the blame at your door for this.
I've got broad shoulders.
So yesterday, Jane and I decided to have a clear out of some shelves in the workroom to make room.
Yeah, we got lots of odd bits, hadn't we?
We did have lots of odd bits and stuff that had been sold either by the meter or... Anyway, we had a tidy up. Now, it looks like there's a lot of half-meter heavens, and there are and there aren't.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of choice, but there's not very much of each one. But our shelves are now clear, ready for the new cave, which is due in. I've finally had, it's on its way.
Yay!
It was meant to have been on its way last week, but it is on its way officially with the transporter.
We love that phrase, it's on its way. That's a very clever way of saying we're not really sure where it is, but it's coming.
Oh no, but they've already tried to send it twice. But this time they've sent it with the guys that got the last lot through to us.
Yeah.
So it's not parcel force, so they hopefully won't sit at the depot, then get sent back, and then I'll get notification to pay the duties. Love that. Right. Anyway, I ranted about that yesterday. That was yesterday's rant. Jane, I heart this very, very much. Look at your beautiful writing. We only have, I believe, 3 of these. But this is the elephant. This is the Lewis and Irene elephant. It's absolutely stunning. And we just, pow!
Yeah, we loved it, didn't we? We were like, oh, we could put it with black, but that's a bit... It
was a bit boring. And it's a very, very deep, soft grey at the back. And then the elephants are in black. Let me just show you that on a sneaky, closey, uppity. No, I've managed to do exactly the same angle. Well done, me. They are multi-directional elephants with a hint of red and a thread. I mean, we'll give you that for free, right? We're very generous like that. So incredibly generous. So that is option number 1. But we've got 3 of those. That's the exciting thing there. So 3 of those. Then, oh, we've only got 1 of these left. Whoop. My ducks are very chatty today. Can you hear them?
I was thinking that. I hope they're all right. Have a look.
The fox ate something right outside their pen.
Oh no.
I know, I think it's upset them.
Well, yeah, they'll be able to smell him, won't they?
Yeah. Anyway, this is your metallic from your Lewis and Irene. Absolutely beautiful. But like I say, I've got 1 of those. Oh, we found a second one of these. So we've got 2 of these. And again, we've put them with the closest grey that we could find to match the sparkly. They're just really useful, aren't they?
Really, they're like a good stable, aren't they? You know, a little bit of...
You could use it instead of a polka dot. You could use it instead of a plain, just to bring a little bit of excitement and beauty to your quilt. In which case, why not go? So this is a different grey? No, we've gone with the grey, same grey for all 3 because it went really closely with the silver sparkly silver. And again, we've only got a handful of these, haven't we?
Yeah.
So these are the last of the Lewis and Irene metallics. And then, right, I'm going to get this one out, Jane. And why am I doing that? Because it ombres.
Oh, it's got some lovely colours in it.
Yeah, it's got all sorts of colours. And so when it came to, well, which colour are we going to choose? Jane very cleverly went, I think you need that blue. I was going purple. And Jane went, pick out the blue. And I did, and suddenly, whoosh.
It really shows everything out, doesn't
The purple would have got lost in it, wouldn't it?
I think it
because
would have
there's
done,
quite
yeah.
a lot of purple in there. So I thank you for that, Jane. Shall we see how many of these we've got? So these all go live at midnight, by the way, for anybody that's going, what's all this half metre heaven about? Basically, any combination that you've seen so far is $9.99 for 2 half metres. Oh, we've only got one of this. Yeah, that's your wisteria. You see, you can tell it's an end of a bolt. It's all creased. With sky. But don't be despondent. It generally means that you get a little bit squidgy bit more. We tend to be more generous, don't we, with the
When it's the end of the bolt, if it's like a little bit, you know.
Now this is your
two. We just leave it on.
Honoria Horner. Oops, sorry, your bunny nose just went. Oh, your eyes. Yes.
That's lovely.
We waited for this, didn't we? Because the sky was out of stock for a little while.
Yeah.
We had a week where we didn't have any, and we're like, no, it needs it. So that's your Anna Maria Horner. Again, I've only got one of the elephant. Lonely Elephant. This is your Dina Designs Kea. I think, did we do this by the metre? I can't remember.
I think we did, yeah.
Oh, no, we did it in a triple.
That's okay.
We did it in a triple. So here it is with the navy. In the navy. Oh, no, not that again. Well, it's better than the old bamboo, which I still have in my head, by the way, Lo. Thanks for that. I've got one of these. Now, I've always put this with like a paprika or a hot tomato. But actually, we've put it with that. And suddenly this little one pops up to say hello, which I'd never really noticed before.
And it makes the purple as well, like, more vibrant somehow.
Yeah, we've done this with green, we've done this with orange, but just suddenly I'm noticing these bits more. Just beautiful. I'm in the middle of prepping my interview, which I'm recording with Kaif tomorrow, and it just reinvigorates me for colour. Then this one we have put with, and also it's a lovely reminder of my my trip that I took there last year.
Yeah.
Oh, which was gorgeous because I went to their studio and they were very, very kind, very hospitable, and I had the most amazing time. I'll have to start sharing my photos because, of course, this new book, which is on pre-order, should be arriving any day, is all about their studio. Because they said, you know, we can't invite everyone to the studio, so we'll just write a book about it instead.
We did want to have a works outing, but, you know,
That
with
can happen.
restrictions and things at the moment, it's
Oh,
not
yeah, not yet.
possible. We were like, can we all come?
No. I've got one of these, and that's it. That's the last one. And I've only got one of these. Do you see what I mean? Like, there are some really beautiful ones. They're a bit wrinkly because they're the end of the bolts. Yes. Love, love, love. That's your lotus flower. Beautiful. Beautiful. It's one of Kaif's that he just brings back time and time and time again because it's gorgeous. Now, again, we've got one of this. This is your Tula Pink mineral, and we've put it with amethyst because, yes, that's the only reason I'm giving. Yes. Yes.
It just made the pink part pop out somehow.
Do you know what actually I'd be doing with it, Jane?
Ooh, nice. Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'd be going.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I can't keep everything, apparently.
It's very tempting.
So I keep being told, light
very
lilac.
tempting.
I had never noticed the light lilac in this. I've got one of these, but there's your light lilac. Light lilac never photographs well. I can never get that colour under the light box. For some reason, it just washes it out.
Yeah.
But it's in there. So yeah, I am enjoying that tremendously. And then I found one of these randomly, which is Stream with one of our salt batiks. There was just one.
It was just lying under the pile of everything else, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that is the first ding ding round one. And then we've got a couple, now, okay, so, Jane, we've got a story behind this one. So, this was meant to be a half metre heaven.
Yes.
And then I put it next to, on the floor, next to, well, that. And then all of these details sort of went ping. So I said, well, that's got to happen.
Yeah, it's a beautiful gold metallic.
But then I was tidying out, and then that pink with the gold metallic, look at that with it. So I've done it as a trio as it's generally known,
yeah,
like a trio, and I'll put a really good price on that, just, you know, if you're interested. I will have one of the William Morris, only because Jane had the rest. She's redecorating, and that's fine, Jane. We're totally comfortable with that. Again, I'll put this on a really special price. It won't be $9.99 because you've got two full-on designers. One.
Yes, and they're both metallic as well.
Yeah.
But they just went so well together.
They did. So it would have been rude not to.
A beautiful bag in that.
I mean, it's decadent, isn't it?
It is. It's luscious. And
it would be rude not to. So, but again, I've got like 3 or 4 of those, and then we put emerald with emerald.
Again, because it just popped the pattern somehow.
It highlights the detailing in there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I still see Mick Jagger lips. I'm not going to lie. I've got one tilde crisscross, and doesn't it look beautiful with the misty blue? Oh, I saw a right old hoo-ha about the misty blue the other day.
Really?
Wow, someone saying that it was really green.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we don't name it.
No.
It just is what it is. And I think
It's
enough of you have had it now to know.
It's a beautiful colour that is blue, is green, is grey.
It's a chameleon, isn't it?
Yeah, it picks up whatever you put it with.
It does. So wherever it goes, it picks up what it needs to. In this case, the sort of tealy colour, which is tealy nice.
Oh dear.
Sorry.
You need more sleep.
Really do. These children that decide that sleep is boring. Dream with pomegranate. How many have we got of those? 2. That's it. Pop it over the sticker. Look at that. There we are. Beautiful. And then that one's gone. Oh, hey there, Mr. Foxy. And we've put him with teal. That's your William Morris. I'm kind of razzing through these, I know, because, also with teal. If you did Jane's Dresden's, this is the last, we've got 2 of these left, and then that's that fabric gone, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the last of that fabric out the door. This, I think, will also go out the door very, very quickly.
We couldn't decide with this one, could we?
No, so we did it with 2 colours. That's it with sapphire, and you've got all those gorgeous elephants. You see all the detailing there?
There's a metallic on there as well, which those dotty bits, the gold metallic, which are just a beauty. It's just a beautiful fabric.
It really is, and the detailing in it are just beautiful. So we've got one with sapphire, and then we've got one with pomegranate because, well, there's lots of pomegranate in there, isn't there, really, to be fair? It's funny, isn't it, how suddenly that pops?
Yeah, just changes.
And you just don't notice the blue as much.
It.
It might be that you want to make a kids quilt. We've had lots of people say, you know, what sort of things have you got for children? Well, that would be perfect. And if you got both, then you'd have you'd have a metre of that, and then you'd have your 2 contrasting colours. I have got that with Midnight, and that's the last half metre that I've got. That was off the kit from last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's the last half metre of that. Like I say, there's one of that. I've got 5 of these, and then that's gone. We've put this with slate. And that is it. So these will go live at midnight. So if you are a night bird, this has to be slate every time, Jane. I just adore it.
We tried it with navy and we tried it with pink, and they just didn't do anything, did they? But the slate just pulls everything.
It just balances it.
Yeah.
And there's only one little bit of it around there. Just phenomenal. I can't even remember. Was this from the Dresden as well? It's a Pat Bravo Nuncia.
I think it was one that we did. Did we? Yeah, I think we put it in there.
I can't remember. We've done so much. But literally 2 of those. I've got 4 of this one left. And again, this only went out as a trio before. So if you fancy just having that. And that's Nell Watmore. And then the tropical paradise birds. Had to be done with the Sunshine Batik. Oh, hello. And then, oh, there was only one colour for this. And again, had to be the jade. Loving that. That's a Tula Pink. Last one to show you, and then, oh no, 2 more to show you. This, oh, we've got 8 of these. This is your Becca in Cobalt, which is really beautiful. We've cut all this, haven't we?
I think so.
I was so tempted to otherwise have made some pyjamas out of it. I kind of kicked myself because I saw cave pyjamas in that sort of fabric for like $99. I was like, why am I not just making my own?
Yeah.
They were really beautiful. Yeah, we put that with yellow.
Yeah, because it really,
really does. It really does. I've got one. That's the last one. But yeah. Popping. Whee. So that's that one then gone. Ready for all the new cave to come in. So do grab yourself your half meters. They will go live at midnight tonight. I am going to pop these somewhere. Look, I did a new display. I promised you, didn't I? A new display. That this morning. In between, you know, like children and stuff. You know, I kept going on about quilting pins.
Yes.
They're in these little tins. They're ever so sweet. Look. Aren't they really pretty tins? We've got all sorts of colours. We've got like marbly ones in various colours. They're just a really handy way to keep all your clips and stuff. Or we've got like mandala-y ones.
I just love a tin.
Love a tin. Love
Especially a pretty
tin.
one.
Exactly. Right, Jane, I'm going to say over to you.
Have you got to do these books?
Oh, I don't know. We're doing books.
I think.
Oh my goodness.
Jem said that she just
Gemma put
loaded
books on?
those.
Jen, we will get to you in a minute. Right, books, everybody. A to Z of quilting. Everybody should have one. It is the ultimate resource for beginners and experienced quilters alike. It's a handy reference, always. Always, always.
You'll always have that one thing that you just think, oh, how do you do that? And that sort of book is perfect for just dipping in and going, oh yeah, that's how it's done.
Even if it's just down to my tringy corners.
Yeah.
I still sometimes end up looking and going,
Start
So-
joining your binding, doing your mitered edges, corners of your binding in there.
It's
and
also
all
got
sorts of
feather
place.
stitches. It's got all of those detailed stitches in there as well. Suffolk puffs. So it's also, you know, appliques that you might add on to, or stitchings that you might add on to. There's quite a lot of applique references in there as well. Strip piecing, all sorts in there. That is the A to Z. Fabulous. Quilting on the go. If you love a bit of EPP, maybe you have gone for some of our hexiforms and now you don't know what to do with them.
That's a lovely book. Again, it's a nice book to dip into, and it's nice, small.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Easy, not easy. Well, yeah, easy projects that you can just have a little go at. Just try a little bit.
EPP doesn't have to be huge. I mean, you see people that have spent 6 years doing a huge whatever. And then, if you want to just, you know, chop out the tiny bits, or photocopy them, or colour them, or do whatever you want to with them, and then you've got your templates and everything at the back. There we are. I heart this.
It
Very,
makes you
very
want
much.
to do stuff, doesn't it? Makes you want to do it.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for Helen McCook's next show, but she's had a bit of a bereavement and whatnot, so she's been a little bit delayed coming on. But this woman is so clever with the crewel work. This makes me want to do crewel work. I mean, look at that.
It's beautiful.
Audrey. It's stunning. When I grow up, I'm going to do crewel work. Step-by-step guide to your stitches. We will go into these all in more detail. And then your hand-stitched crazy patchwork for anybody that wants just a bit of slow stitching, you know.
It's a great way of using up your scraps as well. You know,
Doesn't
you've
have to
got
be big, does it?
lovely big, you know, small pieces, and they don't have to be straightly sewn together. It's a nice way of keeping fabrics that, you know, you think, oh yeah, I like that one, and put it in another project.
So that no piece needs go. Isn't that lovely? And it's just layering, isn't it? It's a whole other. This reminds me very much of the sort of work that Tilly Rose does.
Yes.
It's that kind of feel, isn't it?
Yeah, slow stitching. It's, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So there we go. It's by Hazel Blomkamp. Both of these are gorgeous. Right, Jane, I am going to get out of your way now so that you can crack on with the Barney Burbot. Drink. And off I go.
Lovely.
Thanks, Jane.
Good morning.
Oh no. Oh no. Hang on. Sorry, everyone. Am I? There we go. Am I out of the way?
I think so, yeah.
Can't see me.
There's no head in front of the camera.
That was an unnecessary call for close up there, wasn't it? Soz, everyone. I'm very optimistic with the sunglasses on my head. I think I found them and just didn't want to lose them.
Down. This is the trouble, isn't it? Because you put them down and then you can't find them when you actually need them.
It's because all my glasses cases are behind you.
Yeah. We've got 2 kits today. It makes a 20-inch square block, cushion front, just a wall hanging like I've done that you can make, put it away, and then you've got it
Every Easter.
just to decorate your wall with.
Emily and Freddie have got their eyes on that.
Yeah, it's a good fun
They keep
project.
asking me what's it for. What's it for? What's it for?
So we've got the Liberty bundle. Now the bundles are just slightly different. Poor old Gemma, I gave her nearly a heart attack this morning. She was like, "What are you doing to me?" Because I did the Liberty first, and then we went, it'd be nice to jazz it up with a bit of Cafe. So I'm going to demonstrate the Cafe bundle today. But you've got your background fabric is the same in both kits. So 1/2 metre of the ivory. You've got a fat quarter of the Cafe Aboriginal dot, is that one? Yeah, Aboriginal dot in taupe. That's for the basket, and that's the same in both kits. So both kits have that bit. So your basket and your background is the same fabric.
Beautiful.
Then we've gone the little Bernie rabbit. We've gone silver mink, plain and white for the Liberty kit, and then we've gone grey and white for the Cave kit. In the Liberty kit, you've got the pink, which is used for the egg and the rabbit's nose, ears, and
Feet.
his toesies. So you've got the pink. So there's a bit more. I think there's the same, and then we just put plain pink for the Cave one. So you've got that's for your ears, nose, and feet.
Footsies.
Footsies. Then you've got a bit of blue Liberty, and that's just a piece. You've got more than you need. It's a 10-ish inch square. You're going to get one egg out of there, but you've got a little bit.
You've got a lot
We've
spare.
been sort of as generous, really. So potentially, you might get 2 bunnies out of, but you'd need more background.
But you can, if you decide to do that, you can buy that background by the
Yeah,
half
I mean, we
metre.
do all of our
It's
planes, don't we? by the
ivory,
half
isn't
metre.
it?
Yeah.
It's the ivory by the half metre.
And then the yellow, I bound my piece in the yellow as well.
Oh, okay.
So you've got a long quarter of the yellow because you need an egg and the binding.
An egg and a binding, right.
And then
And
you've
these
got,
are the Wiltshire shadows from Liberty, aren't they? They're
yes,
ever so
they're
beautiful.
pretty, they're
Yeah.
so pastel-y and gorgeous. And you've got a little, again, it's a 5-inch-ish square. It's not really a square, but it's a. That's the eyes, and you can see it's
You've got
huge
enough.
piece.
You've got enough, basically.
And a 3-ish inch piece of black
More ish.
for your pupils. And again, there's more than enough there. So that's a Liberty kit. The Cave kit, you'll have a longer 1/8 of this shirt stripe green
Nice.
for the binding, because I love a
Nice.
stripe binding. Then you've got a 10-inch-ish square of spot purple with red for an egg. You've got a 10-inch-ish square of, what's it called? Flower dot.
Flower dot.
It's aqua,
In
that
aqua.
colourway,
Yeah.
for an egg. And you've got diamond stripe pastel for an egg. Again, 10-inch square. Again, more than you actually need for the eggs. I've done
Way
3
more.
eggs in my basket. If you wanted to do more eggs, you've got enough fabric to do more eggs. And then you've got the little piece of blue and the little piece of black for the eyes. So the
Perfect.
Liberty has got, the Cave's got a little bit of a different combination. I think Gemma's listed it in the kits what we've aimed it for. But I mean, obviously you can change it around
that's
and do
just
what
it.
you want. It's your kit.
It's only ever a serving suggestion. Now, just to note, we do not have digital versions of this for one very good reason. The template.
Yeah, the template is on an A3 piece of
And
paper.
I don't know how many people, and because it was sort of placement as well on some of it,
Yeah,
I wanted to make sure you got it properly.
I've done this in reverse because we're doing bonded applique for this. So I have traced it into reverse for you so that when you put it onto the back of the bond web and then put it onto your fabric, it will come out the way it is on the quilt.
The way Jane has intended.
The body part here has got quite a lot of information about placement on it. The dashed lines are like where it fits in within the... Now, that's the edge of the basket. It's on the right-hand side here, but when you come to put it on, it'll be on the left-hand side because it's in reverse.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
it can be a bit confusing, but we'll go through it. Right, okay. So let's get on with it because there's a few twiddly fiddly bits that I want to just highlight for you so that when you look at the pattern it's not too confusing. I've tried to be as clear as possible. Gemma proofreads my patterns now because Gemma's at the beginning of her patchwork and quilting.
She knows enough to make sure that the sizings are correct, doesn't she?
Yeah,
and
but she's not familiar with all the techniques, so she will ask me sometimes to
explain yourself.
Elaborate on things because
Elaborate
it's very,
is a better way of putting
yeah,
it. Than
it's very
explain yourself.
easy when you're experienced.
It means we don't assume any knowledge.
You will write things a certain way, and Jem will say, "What do you mean by that?" And I'll be like, "Well, it means this, this, and this." And she said, "Oh, can we just change?" Sometimes it's just a word that just needs changing to expand it to make it easier for somebody who's on their first. You know, if you're a beginner and you pick up a project and then they're using all language or making an assumption that you know what that technique is, it can be quite off-putting.
I've had to
and
Google projects.
we've all had projects where that's happened to us.
I mean, what we pride ourselves on is clear instructions, but also you've got these videos to watch back. They're on YouTube always. They're on our website always. And now if you click on the pattern that you bought, it takes you straight. There's a link there, so you can watch. You can watch the show straight away.
Josh's wizardry, which is just amazing.
Because it's Witchy Wednesday.
Yeah.
Going back to the Lewis and Irene, which incidentally wouldn't some of those make beautiful eggs.
Wouldn't they just?
Victoria's watching. Morning, Victoria Pete. She says, morning,
hello,
Natasha and
Victoria
Jane.
Pete.
Have seen the fairy clocks in the flesh. And they're just so lovely. Not seen the glow in the dark ones, so they look fun. My 12-year-old would love them. Yeah, well, this 41-year-old loves them too.
Yes.
And yeah, but they do. You know, the kids love the glow in the dark, don't they?
It is. It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's magical. It is magical. I don't.
Of course it is. I
As a
don't care what
grown-up,
age you
it's
are.
magical.
It's like popping candy.
How
also
does that
magical.
work? Yeah. So this is your fat quarter of the fabric for your basket. You've got. It's a traditional pieced basket. The basket block is a 1920s pattern going back that far, I think.
Right.
1920s, when the feed sack fabric started to appear, that's when the basket block sort of came to fruition. There was a lot more piecing, elaborate piecing in the 1920s when people got a bit more exciting fabric to work with. And the feed sacks are literally patterns that were on feed sacks. In
Yes.
America in the Depression, the only cotton they could get sometimes was from the feed sacks.
Yeah.
And the feed sacks manufacturers got to realise that the wives were using the feed sacks for fabric. And so they started printing patterns on the feed sacks so that the wives would encourage the husbands to buy a certain feed so that they could have the fabric. And that's where the feed sack fabrics
It's
come from.
heartbreaking and industrial and industrious.
Yes.
All in one thing, isn't it?
It's just, it's clever, isn't it, that somebody twigged
cottoned onto that.
this is what was happening.
Yeah. It's good marketing.
Yeah.
It's good marketing.
It
It's
is.
like Karen's laughing because when I did the moon, I went half moon, full moon, totally quotes. She's like, I'm glad somebody else does the Jaffa Cake advert. But you know, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. PT, Gemma, once I can retrieve the Lewis and Irene from Natasha's grubby little hands. It's nice,
How
isn't it?
rude. They're not grubby.
They're normal size, I'll have you know. I will set them live and ready to purchase. Thank you for your patience. How very rude.
I don't
Very
know.
rude, grubby little hands.
Grubby little hands. Right, so before we cut anything else from the fat quarter, we're going to cut a bias strip.
Oh.
We need a bias strip for the handle because we want to get that curve.
Okay.
So before you cut anything else, because you want more or less the whole piece of that bias edge, you will line up the 45 degree of your ruler along the edge of your fabric. This is the salvage piece on salvage edge on mine. It's probably the nearest to a straight edge that you're going to get. Line your 45 degree line up with that edge and slide your ruler across into the corner. And this is where you think, well, my ruler doesn't fit. If you've got a big enough space on your mat, and even your 20-inch mat, if you turn it that way up, you'll get your fat quarter on there.
You've also, if you flip this mat, you've got your 45 degree lines all the way up.
Yeah.
Which is super cool.
I mean, some of us haven't got the space to have a full 36-inch mat like this. Some of us have got the 18 by 24.
Yeah.
But if you switch it up onto the 18
Swing it
inch,
around.
you'll have it enough to get this on. So you're going to place, as I say, your 45 degree line there, and you're just going to use your ruler and you're going to cut along. Now when you get towards the middle of the ruler, 2/3 of the way up, just stop and just slide your ruler up, keeping your rotary cutter along the edge until you're over the edge of the fabric, and then keep going. Just, you've more or less cut your because a fat quarter isn't a square, you've more or less cut it across the diagonal. And then you need to cut 1.5 inch piece. So you're just going to line your 1.5 inch mark up with that diagonal you just cut.
Jane, I know it's not quite a diagonal, but if you did happen to cut a fat quarter on the diagonal, have you got enough
of
bias?
a bias. Yeah, it would be enough of a bias to do your strap. I mean,
okay.
It's not your handle.
And Valerie from Lewisham, and you don't have to answer this now, you can answer this later, says, how do you back a quilt with fleece? Do you still use wadding with it?
You don't need to.
I don't, but I
you
didn't know
don't
what
need
you did.
to. You can if you want. You'll get it quite thick then, but
Yeah.
I think just putting a fleece on the back is enough.
Yeah. Do you onion?
And then you treat it the same way.
And
you know,
then
you pin it.
walking foot down.
Walking foot. Yeah, you'll definitely need your walking foot for fleece. Yeah.
To be honest, I put it right sides together, stitch around, turn it through.
Yes, that's a good way of doing it as well.
Yeah.
Bagging it.
Yeah.
It's called, it's bagging it. It's a good way of doing it.
And that's super quick.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we like that.
So then from this piece, I mean, this piece then is extra for your stash. You need to cut a 2 7/8 inch strip. Now I'm just going to cut this a bit wider because it's just not quite, I'm lining up my straight edge of my ruler with the salvage, so I'm just lining up one of the horizontal lines on my ruler with that. I'm just going to cut it a bit wider because it's not quite straight, that edge. So what I'll do is I'll cut that strip there, so I've got a straight edge, and then I'll just flip that over and then I'll trim that then to 2 7/8 inches.
Oh, Caroline, thank you. She sent us some stars.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
Just cut that off. Okay. So I'm going to cut, I think it's 6. I haven't got the pattern in front of me. I'm sure it's 6. Anyway, it says in your pattern how many squares you need. And we're just going to cut that into...
Yes, because you've got 12 jobby things.
12 triangles, yeah.
Yeah, that's the word.
That's the word.
You who sleep can give me my words.
Today.
That would be the one. Oh, Shirley, thank you very much. We're star-tastic this morning.
That's lovely, isn't
Oh,
it?
Julia says that Facebook finally decided I could watch. I mean, during the party, I don't understand this new Facebook format, as you have all seen as I spend ages trying to find you.
It just
someone
changes
had
it
loaded
every so often, doesn't it? It's just like you get used to it and then it does something and changes it and you're like, why are you doing that? Now I can get 5 out of that strip, and so I've got plenty of fabric here. I'm just going to cut another strip. But now I've got a nice straight edge. I can line the 2 7/8 inch piece.
Right, you see, Leanne says that she's a visual learner, so finds print instructions hard to follow. That's why we always put loads of pictures.
We try and put as many
well.
images as we can to make it helpful. But then, as Natasha says, we've got the link now to the video as well, so you can watch. You can watch us doing the projects at the same time, which always helps, because sometimes we can expand on things, can't we, when we're demonstrating. So I've got 6 of the squares there.
You know how I told you the other day that I'm just sort of borderline dyslexic?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently it was grabby hands, not grubby hands.
It's so funny you saying that. I followed an electrical testing van this morning into work.
Living the dream.
And it took me ages to realise that I'd read the tagline wrong.
Oh, right, what should it have said?
Because it said something like, test, reset, compliant. And I read it as complaint. And I was like, why would you then complain if you tested it and reset it? Followed it for about 5 miles before I read it the right way.
It's got me in all sorts of trouble before now. I just need to slow down and read properly.
This is what happens, isn't it? Right, so let's make the basket and then we'll talk about the applique. We've got the ivory squares and rectangles. All the measurements and everything are in the instructions. We're going to make 3 lots of half square triangles. So we've got an ivory, the background fabric, and a basket fabric. We're going to mark the diagonal line on the ivory squares from corner to corner. And I always mark from the middle outwards just because we're going across the bias, although I have used starch on this morning just to stabilise the fabric.
Get you getting in early and doing your prep.
Starched it all to...
Oh, loaded.
I didn't starch the fat quarter. Just going to say that before, because I wanted that biased piece. I didn't starch that before I cut it. Although you could see me spritz it just then, just because there was a crease in it that was being a bit stubborn. Because I want that bias edge and I want that flexibility, I didn't starch it. But what you could do is you could cut your bias and then you could just starch the bit you're then going to cut into squares.
Carol says I've got glow-in-the-dark stars around my oval mirror from when my kids were little.
Oh.
They're still there, and they're now 25 and 29. Glow-in-the-dark is magical. We are all kids at heart.
We did Isaac's room when he was younger, not a lot younger, obviously, because he's 27.
Yeah.
And we did it Harry Potter theme, and when we put glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling.
Amazing.
And I think my dad painted planets as well.
In glow-in-the-dark?
No, just painted them, but then the stars around them. I'm pretty sure that's what we did. That was when we were in the pub. And of course we left the pub and for all I know, those stars are still on that ceiling because they were quite high ceilings.
But that's just it, isn't it?
Yeah.
We used to give Freddie a glow-in-the-dark star for every night he spent in his own bed.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
Yeah. I think I might have to repaper that wall when we have to move.
Right, so we're going to sew 1/4 inch either side of these lines. We may have figured out what was wrong with the machine yesterday. When I was doing the prep for Natasha, I used the walking foot and omitted to lift it again afterwards.
And
so
it
while
wasn't
Natasha was like
properly.
whizzing up and down with her machine, it probably didn't like it very much.
It sounds great today.
Yeah, it has. I'd give it a little bit of a clean out. It wasn't too fluffy inside. There's a little bit of fluff, obviously, because the poor thing gets used more like an industrial machine than
Anything else.
should.
Yeah. I hadn't realised it was down. Whoops. Because this is where if you have this machine and it's just yours, I mean we all use it, so it gets a lot of use.
Yeah.
Then you would know that you put the.
Yes, you'd remember, wouldn't you?
But also, I wasn't even looking for that.
No, and I'd forgotten to say to you, I put the walking foot on because we were sewing
But I
with
took
fleece.
the foot off. I took the foot off to check. So it was obviously catching somewhere and not on properly, and that was why it was making the noise.
And of course,
So
when
I
it's
did
got the
user
walking
error.
foot down, it doesn't like to go fast either. You can't do whizzy stitching with it.
That's fair enough.
So we've got
We get to the end of it.
3 squares there with the background fabric and the basket fabric, right sides together, sewn 1/4 inch either side. And then we're going to cut those along that marked line in half to make half square triangle units.
Nice.
And we'll press these to one side. And we'll press it towards the basket fabric just because that's slightly darker and we don't want to see the seam. And as I always say, if you have the fabric that you want your seam to go under on the top, that way you know that it's going to be on the right side for your seam to disappear behind. And you will have created 6 half square triangle squares.
I love the softness of the taupe.
It's
in
really,
this. It's really beautiful.
You know, I was thinking about this and I thought you could use the Lisa wicker weave fabric for the basket because it's got that woven effect.
And that's the thing, isn't it? This is soft and beautiful. You'll get a different look if you use Lisa's wicker fabric. You're looking for it now, aren't you?
No, I'm just looking to make sure I've got these the right way around.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just about to change direction and whip out a metallic woven fabric from Lisa.
Whoosh. So we're going to place these squares together. We're going to sew 2 of them together and we're going to sew 3 together in a row and then we'll have 1 left over. Now we want to make sure that the that the basket fabric, the taupe fabric, is on the bottom right hand corner.
Right.
I don't think it would be the end of the world, but the basket would look slightly different if you got them the other way up. So just sew those squares together in a row. So I'm just going to do 2 and then 3, making sure that all your squares face the same way. So there's no seam matching, so that makes life easier for you.
I'm just looking at, you see now that I don't know how you've done it.
No, this is what happens, and because it's on point as well.
Yeah, it's totally thrown my head.
It makes it quite strange at first.
It is very clever. Very, very clever.
So we'll just press those now. Just so that and I am pressing them towards the cream this time, just because that's the straighter edge and there's no seam really that can add to the bulk of it.
Very, very clever.
Okay, so you've got a 3 and a 2 and a 1.
3, 2, 1.
And then you take your three squares that you cut previously. and I've lined them up. You can do this individually. I'm stacking them on top just to make it quicker. And obviously if you stack things on top, you are creating a little bit of fabric movement, so make sure, you know, if your blade's not as sharp as it could be or whatever, you might distort your triangle slightly, but I've got a nice sharp blade and I'm quite happy that they're pretty much well stacked on top of each other. And we're just going to cut those in half across the diagonal to create 6 half square triangles, or just 6 triangles. On the one square on its own, we're going to add, just move these rectangles out of the way. We're going to put a square on 2 sides on the cream to make a larger triangle.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So we're going to sew that to this side. Now, we're going to line up the base of that triangle with the base of the square. We won't worry about this bit at the top, that's your seam allowance. So don't think, oh no, the triangles are too big. So when you place them together, you might want to trim your ears off your squares. Just make sure that it's a 2.5 inch square before you start trimming bits off, just so that it makes it easier for you to see when you're lining your square, you're lining your triangles up with your square. So I still want to keep your taupe square in the bottom right hand corner.
Is that what you're always aiming for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Line that short edge of that triangle with the diagonal edge on your left hand side to the square. Line that up so that the bottom square then is against that right angle of the triangle, and then you're going to seam down that edge there.
I need to apologise to anyone who is still waiting for their robbing Peter to pay Paul pattern. We're just making sure that we've got the templates absolutely right for those. How was it Josh described them this morning?
I'm not going to say. I am taking the 5th on that one.
Because obviously Josh is working remotely so that we can all socially distance and all that flim-flam flippery stuff, all that malarkey. I have to scan them and take them across. And he's like, Natasha, what is this? Why have, and I quote, why have you sent me a drone with nipples?
With 4 nipples.
With 4 nipples!
And we were like, what?
Only someone with a love of sci-fi could see a drone with 4 nipples. And of course now, that's all I can see.
Yes.
That's all I can see. Are we going to have to rename it, Jane, as the drone with 4 nipples?
It could be interesting, couldn't it,
Cushion.
in the pattern writing.
Yeah.
So now we're going to put this second triangle on the top of that square. So what we're doing is we're creating a larger triangle. And this time we want that straight edge to match up. We still want the diagonal side on the left-hand side. We place that on the top so the right angle lines up with that top corner of the square.
Excellent. Oh, I've lost everybody again. Where are we? There we go. Let's busily check a manipulate template.
And each time I'm pressing the seam towards the triangle, just because there's less bulk that way. But obviously when you're pressing triangles, just be careful that you do actually just press it and not push it, because you've got a biased edge there that you could distort. So you've created a larger triangle with that piece.
All right, so Margaret, we don't have digital instructions for this one because the template is on an A3 and we don't think that everyone has A3 templates. So she's saying, oh, the digital version went up in error. I'm really sorry. We only have the physical templates for these, and the physical versions, they're all printed off, ready to go.
Yeah.
But we only have physical versions for these. So apologies for that. We just wanted to make sure that everyone got them printed. Yeah. There we go.
So now we've got the 2 squares and we're going to put a triangle on the left hand side, so against the cream. And again, we want that straight edge and the diagonal on the left hand side. So we're just going to place that on there. And we're going to do a seam. Yeah, I made the mistake of saying to Josh, oh yeah, we want actual and digital, and then hadn't thought about the templates. Because obviously people that use a domestic printing on their computer tend not to have the ability to print A3, do they? I know I haven't on mine.
So yeah, the rest of the instructions can all go. But it was, yeah, there were bits of the bunny that just were not going to fit otherwise.
No. And then we're going to place another triangle on the left-hand side of the row of 3 squares joined together. And again, facing the same way, short side along the bottom so that they face the same way, and that diagonal on your left-hand side. And we're sewing against the cream.
Excellent.
So we just line that up. You can pin if you want to. I'm not, because I'm just doing it. But if you feel that you feel you need that bit of accuracy, then
Then what happens, Jane?
your needle comes unthreaded because you're trying to rush.
There's no rush, no rush.
You've got all day. I'm just going to take that out and do it manually. It's being...
Oh, poor Lo. I thought you were quiet this morning, Lo. She said, I'm stabbing myself in the leg with a pencil so I don't swear on hold to HMRC. Yeah, that's going to ruin anyone's day, isn't it? Yeah. I love that they send you to the website. It's the most complex website to try and navigate.
And it's so frustrating when you ring them and they say, well, if you go to our website, it's an easy, straightforward way to...
It's not. And it's really not. It's really not. We feel your pain.
And you're like, I'm on the phone because I need to talk to someone because I can't navigate your so-called easy website.
It's when I've done sort of half an hour of going round and round in circles on there that I just go, why would anybody want to be an accountant? Like the stress that they must feel on a daily basis if they have to have anything to do with the HMRC website. I'm very grateful for my accountant.
I'm going to say thank goodness for people that are accountants, because otherwise we'd be in
because they take the brunt of the pain, and I appreciate that massively, absolutely massively. So yeah, Lo, we're here for you. We do feel your pain.
So now you've got 3 pieces. You've got your larger triangle, you've got your 2 pieces with the triangle on the end, and your 3 pieces with the triangle on the end. And we're going to join those pieces together. So lining them up, because we've pressed the seams all under the taupe colour, they'll nestle quite nicely on that piece there. So you can line those up and seam them together.
Lo says, I'm a practice manager of an accountant. I thought you were a hypnotist. I'm really confused now.
She's got about 7 jobs, hasn't she, Lo?
Multitasking. I'm horrified for you, because I have a horrible feeling that means that you being on the phone to the HMRC is going to be like a regular occurrence. Do you think it's a bit like Redditch and the roundabouts? Do you...
Unusual analogy.
Bear with me here. It's going somewhere, unlike me trying to navigate round Redditch. Okay, so Redditch is basically just a lot of roundabouts. Like Peterborough, it's just a lot of roundabouts. And until you've lived there for about 6 years, you will never know your way. It'll just be slip road, onto ring road, onto roundabout, onto... I don't actually know where the centre of Redditch is. I don't know that I've ever found it. I've probably gone round it 6 times, but I just don't know. And I feel like the HMRC website is a little bit like that.
Yeah.
That you just go round and round
in
never
circles,
quite knowing where you are. Milton Keynes is another one that loves a good roundabout.
It's renowned, isn't it, for its roundabouts, Milton Keynes?
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Fiona's a bookkeeper. Oh, we need a new bookkeeper. She says, yeah, she's feeling the pain too. If you speak to 2 people at HMRC, they will tell you different things. Great. Love that.
I suppose, well, you'd like to think there's more than one way, is there, like, to get to the answer? I don't know. You'd like to think.
Karen has a top tip and I like it. She says, if you spend all your money on fabric, there's nothing left for HMRC to concern themselves with.
Yeah, that's true.
Shit, it works for me. We will use that as our defence.
Yeah.
Karen,
Would you like your
Karen from Wigan says
fabric?
that it's
Let me pay
okay
you in fabric.
if we pay you in beautiful quilts with Made. Oh no, we're not going to give you the beautiful ones. We'll give you the ones that went slightly wrong,
Yeah,
because we're going to keep the really beautiful ones.
Yeah, you can have the dodgy ones. Right, so we've got 2 rectangles of fabric. They're going either side here, but they're not going there.
Oh, what?
They're going like this and like this.
What are you doing, Jane?
Because we're going to add a triangle to the end of each one. Now I've done it like that just to help you visualise what we're doing. Because in the instructions, I say, join one triangle to the right hand side with the short edge against the short edge and the diagonal facing from bottom left to top right, which when you put it in words is like, what?
Say that again.
Short edges together.
Yeah.
Diagonal from bottom left to top right.
Yeah.
There is a picture, so I mean, you just look at the picture, you can see what I'm trying to say. And we just seam that onto there.
Oh, that Fiona says, have you driven around Swindon? Horrible. Roundabouts. Yeah.
It's just roundabouts.
Roundabouts?
I don't know. I don't know if anybody else. When I first learnt to drive, I was petrified every time I came to a roundabout. I'm not that bad now, but when you first learn, and it's just like, what?
I remember being stopped very late at night by the police because they said that my driving was wobbly going around the roundabout. I'm like, because I don't know where I am. I'm lost.
Yes.
I'm not sure
which bit I'm supposed to be
Hence, and I don't think that you can actually fine me for having wobbly driving.
As long as I'm not drunk, then I'm fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
the other rectangle,
Yep.
we're going to sew it onto the left-hand side, short edges again, but from the bottom right to the top left.
So we're pointing in
It's
opposite
just
directions.
opposite. They're just opposite directions, facing the opposite way.
Julie's a rebel. She said Milton Keynes on a motorbike at quiet time. Brilliant.
Oh, that could be good fun, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, there you go. You see, Lo's, yeah, she's a motorbike girl.
Yeah.
She enjoyed riding through it on the way back from Soggy Moggy Rally. What's Soggy Moggy Rally? Is that your name for it, like Stitchy Witchy Wednesday, Lo, or does it have like another name?
So now we're going to attach these to the sides. Now you can see what's going on here. These are longer. They're meant to be because we're going to have to cut them in a diagonal. It's all been worked out for you. So
thank goodness.
line up this seam here with the seam here on this bottom square. So line it up like that. Line up those edges. You may want to pin it in place because you've got that extra bit of fabric that's sort of wafted around. So just pin it in a couple of places just to hold your fabric on, really, just so you know where you are. What I suggest is that you sew it on this side so you can see where you then stop, because you'll stop just here with your sewing.
Oh, okay. Cool. There's now some confusion over the Soggy Moggy. Margaret says, why is Lo soaking my cat? No, we've now found out it is a rally. Well, this is good.
There's all sorts of things going on.
Yeah, you are right. Lo does have 3 jobs. She's the jewellery, stage hypnotist, and this. She stood in for a friend. So there we go, you see? All good. Oh, Coventry Ring Road, Jenny, don't get me started on Coventry Ring Road. Yeah. You see, I've had to get to know Coventry Ring Road. I've had to get to know Peterborough Ring Road, because I lived near both those places and worked near both those places. We get there in the end.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press that away from the rectangle. Like so. So you press it. It's a little bit awkward because you are pressing sort of against the way the fabric would like to go, but it does make it easier for you when you're trimming it.
Okay.
And then we're going to put the other side on in the same way. So we're lining up this seam of the bottom square here with the seam there. And again, probably, you know, just out. Don't stick the pin in your finger, but just line it up and pin it in place just so that you've got it in the right place.
Went to Coventry once, never again. Couldn't find our way out. Well, I mean, it's just...
It's a bit like the Hotel California.
Yeah.
Step out any time you like, but you can never leave.
Oh, Becky Alexander Frost. I hate Coventry, Big Beck too. All right. Pipe down, you lots. Oh, Anna says, I can't get the comments to come out in the right order, so I'm just going to say hello and watch the telly instead. That's all right. Anna, it's lovely to have your company in whatever order it all happens in. Oh, Fiona's doing her accounts. I'm watching us at the... Oh, I'm doing accounts now with Natasha Mails on my iPod.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit of going on there.
It's another show, isn't it? I have accidentally put in www.natashamails.com on the "Are you going to watch us at 10 o'clock" links. I'm not sure if it's an actual site.
What was the other one that we'd put in, and it was like it said something else?
Oh, I don't know.
And somebody said, "Oh, have you started something else?"
I can't
remember what it was now, but it really made us laugh, didn't it?
Could well have been Natasha Mails. I mean, I generally come up as Trash or Rash when I sign off Tash.
So you've got this. That's what it looks like. Now we're going to trim off down here now. So line it up, turn it round, line it up with a straight line on your mat. Now remember, you've got biased edges here, so it might be a little bit wobbly, but you're looking for sort of like the average, if you like. You might want to do one side, turn it round and do the other, but you can actually do it all in one go. So I'm lining the ruler up there, making sure it's along the edge there and along there. So I'm using, on my mat, it's the 19 line, just because I happen to have put it against that line. It doesn't matter which line you use, but that will trim. And you can trim the ears off at the same time then.
Perfect. Becky thinks that we should buy natashamails.com. It's what we'd put on it, Becky. That's the trouble.
Yes, it could be interesting.
It could be very interesting, for sure. Oh, it was Natasha Manx.
That's it. We've gone to the Isle of Man. That's what the lady said.
Yeah. Pam says that the Coventry Road is great once you get to know how it works. Yeah, not for the faint-hearted. I've lived here on and off for half my life. Still.
Yeah. Right, we've got a 4 7/8 inch square here. We're going to cut it in half across the diagonal.
Okay.
Just from corner to corner.
No, Alison is enjoying the overhead camera today. It makes a difference. Yeah, when it
also really helps, doesn't it?
Helps if I actually remember to switch it across to there.
So now
we're
going to sew that triangle onto there.
Oh, that's how it worked. I was sitting here thinking that you'd appliqued the whole thing on. Yeah. I was getting very confused.
We're just going to finger press that in half so you can see the middle. Mm-hmm. You've got a seam here, the point there. So really you want to line that up with there.
Perfect.
Just so that you know that you're in the right vicinity, if you like. And just pop a couple of pins in it just to hold it while you go to the machine.
Margaret says she still visits her mother-in-law in Reading every week. She doesn't know what you mean about the bus lanes, some of which are only valid during certain days and hours. You need an almanac. You do.
It's funny, isn't it, how, you know, you can go somewhere completely different and you're like, I don't know what's going on here. Why is this road like this?
It's all very strange. All very strange. My mum hasn't driven now for nearly a year because they've been...
in lockdown.
They've been in lockdown. Yeah. They've been, so sheltered. She said, well, we started the car the other day. It was like a major event, wasn't it, Mum? Starting the car so that the battery didn't go flat.
And that's as far as it goes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got a half square triangle, and if you can see, that's the base of the basket, but it's a half square triangle.
Oh, nice. It's very clever.
So we're going to just pop that to one side for now, just for a moment. And we've got a 12 and a 7/8 inch square, and we're going to cut that in half through the diagonal.
Lo would like to know if you've got a heated finger, because your finger pressing is impressive.
I do have hot hands, Lo. I do have hot hands.
Who knew it would be so advantageous?
And it helps that the fabric's been starched. We only need one of those triangles, and I'll show you now. That is the top of said basket square.
Nice.
Okay.
And then you've got Driving Miss Daisy to put in there.
Yes. So we've got the bias piece here. We're going to, you can press this in half if you want to. Press it in half and then press the edges into that crease. So that
Like you would make any normal binding.
Like you'd make binding. Now, just obviously it's on the bias, it's stretchy, so when you are pressing it, literally, you know, try not to pull it as you're pushing the pieces together. Your bias tool will come in very handy. Is it Hannah? Made by Hannah, is it the bias tool that we use?
Hayley.
Hayley.
Handmade by Hayley.
Handmade by
Yes.
Hayley, that's it.
Yes, yes.
That will come in very handy for doing this.
Belinda says that she's ordered the kit but asked for an extra ½ metre of cream. Was it supposed to be ivory?
It's ivory.
It is ivory.
But if it's on the back, it's not the end of the world.
Or we can just change it for you.
We can change it for you.
If you just email SJ, that's info@natashamakers.com, she will make it so. Don't you worry, Belinda. We'll sort it out.
We can sort it out for you.
I say that, SJ is trying to swap over her broadband provider, so she's been very quiet today. SJ, you with us today, or are you having to go and... She can't even go and sit at McDonald's, can she?
No.
Are they open? I don't know.
They're open outside, aren't they? You can do drive-through and
It's a bit cold for sitting outside.
sit outside. Well, I suppose you can sit in your car.
Well, only if does their Wi-Fi stretch to
I don't
outside?
know if
She's
it
only
does.
going to use their Wi-Fi.
Yeah. You've got Starbucks and Costa as well, I suppose. It's like,
Yeah, they've got them all on. We call it Fatty Island on the A45 at Coventry, where they've got all the
of
food
them.
runs. And the kids will sit in the car and go, "Are we going to Fatty Island?" No.
So I've pressed those two edges into the middle.
Could you move it across so we can see, please, Jane?
Let's put it under there. So you see those are pressed into the middle, but now I'm going to press it in half so that those raw edges are encased.
With your hot fingers or the iron?
I'm going to use the iron.
Going traditional, are you?
Yeah, because although I have got hot fingers, they're not that hot.
Scorchio. Oh, yes, SJ is with us. There we go.
Lovely. And you can see as I'm pressing this, it is starting to curve anyway. Just the nature of the fabric is that it wants to do it. If you've got bias binding that you think, oh well, I'll just use bias binding, then you can. It's, you know, we're only making it because it matches the basket.
Yeah.
And if you're not bothered about what colour your handle is, you can use a piece of bias binding.
Alison wants to know what the bunnies on the dresser are, please.
They're wooden.
They are wooden bunnies. They are Gemma's Easter bunnies that she brought in for us. She said, wouldn't they look nice on the dresser? And we said yes.
And they do.
So we've put them on the dresser. You know, because we've got a bit of a bunny theme going on.
So
Wi-Fi's hanging on by a thread. Just go to Fatty Island, SJ, you'll be fine.
you're going to place this bias binding now around there. It's a sort of a visual curve, really. There's no template. It's approximately 3.5 inches in from the point, just because I wanted it sort of just a bit more than 1/4 of an inch in from the side of the basket. I wouldn't want to put it there, because when I come to join those two pieces together in the seam allowance, the basket handle would then be sitting on the outside of the basket.
Right, with you.
So approximately 3.5-ish. But I think what I did is I put the two pieces together, looked at where the basket was and went in about 1/4 of an inch. and you've got this edge here that's on the bias, you know, diagonal there, just make sure that's hanging over the edge of the fabric, because you don't want any raw edges showing when you actually come to put the pieces together. And then really it's a case of pinning it in place. And as I say, it was a more or less a visual thing. Now, because I've made the template as I did before, you might want to just stick this, it is back to front. What I would suggest that you do, if you've got a light box, that would come in handy, or just stick it against the window or a light area and trace it over just the basic shapes on this side, so that you can pop your, I can see it on here, but you could pop your part with the body, because there's a line there where the edge of the basket is. Now remember, that's when it's been sewn together, so that's like 1/4 of an inch up, and that's the basket handle. So you might want to just pop that on there just to make sure that you've got your handle curve in the right place.
Jane, do we need to do 2 copies of this template, one correct way up and one the other way round? Or a bit of it?
Maybe a bit of it, maybe, I don't know. It's, what do people think? What do people think? I don't know.
It's whatever makes life easy.
Yeah.
If we need that placement, then we'll just add an extra bit in, because this is the bit that's being photocopied and popped in.
Yeah. Now you can see I'm just using my template that I've cut of the bunny body bit there, so that I can see. And again, that bit is stuck on after it's seamed, so I've left like 1/4 of an inch there, just so that I know where my curve is going.
Your bunny body bit.
My bunny body bit. It's about
Try saying
there.
that fast.
And then we're coming round and trying to make it sort of even. If you want to, you know, draw it with your fabric marker first, so you've got a line to follow, and you can see whether it looks even or not. It's about, move that out of the way. Could do with coming down a little bit this side. Yeah, I think that's about right.
Oh, decisions. We're all with you.
Yeah.
We're all with you here, Jane. We are waiting with bated breath for you.
This is it. It's just a case of playing with the handle really to start with. If I'll show you on the, it's on the right hand side, but this is, but if you traced over the back, you could place, this is obviously in the reverse, but you could just place that on there, so you could see that's the seam where the basket edge is, that's the body part, and that's the body part there, so you can see that that will fit in. There's the handle shaping, but that's on this side. What I would do, because I mean, when I did mine originally, I did it the way it is on there. When I drew the picture, I drew it the same way that the bunny was on there.
Yes.
Then as I was drawing it out, I realised it needed to be in reverse, so I just, because I don't have a light box at home, I put that on the window and then just traced it through. Because when you've got it up to the light, I don't know if we can see it, probably not, you can see the shape through, so it's quite easy to trace it back over. It's just a little point just to help you make sure you're in the right place. That's the only fiddly bit really, I think, on this. I think once you've got the handle on, everything else comes together quite well. You're going to sew either side onto that handle, so you really you might want to just trim it off before you start sewing it, just so that there's no dangly bits getting in the way. Just 1/8 of an inch in, just so that it's holding it down really. You'll know how to position that on your machine. It's just a case of trial and error really, making sure that it's in the right place and just taking your time. just so it's catching it down. If you want to, you can hand sew it down with an applique stitch or a button stitch. It's entirely up to you. You can make it your own.
Are you going both sides?
Yes.
Okay.
You need to go both sides just to hold it down.
So
Otherwise
you could do a little zigzag.
you could zigzag it through the middle,
yeah.
yeah.
Choices, it's all good.
There's all different ways of doing everything.
I'm really sorry if everyone keeps hearing my stomach rumbling.
I can't hear it from here, so hopefully
Oh, that's
it's
good.
not being picked up on your microphone. But
That is good.
and then we'll go back and do the other side. Just make sure your needle's in the right place.
Oh man, it goes. I think I've jogged that camera again, you know. You just see the very top of your stitching, which is lovely.
Oh, that's good.
And you haven't backed this or anything yet, have you?
No. Okay. Now, while it's still in this state, I would have to stitch back over that. It's just not quite. It doesn't matter. It's not the end of the. It's caught it down, but where it's folded over, it's just gone on the underside because it wasn't quite level together. But that's okay. Right. Before we then join that to there, we're going to put the applique of the bunny's body and the eggs on.
Okay.
Purely because I've made a full egg, so you can position it slightly to suit yourself. I mean, I have done it so that the body's in a certain place and the egg shapes are there. But if you wanted to change it round slightly, you've got the basic shape of the body there. You could just extend it round to fit wherever you want. You know, you might want your body a bit further up, or this is the way that I've done it on this one, but you can have a play with it and change it round if you want to.
Perfect.
Right, so let's talk about applique now. This is bonded applique. So we're using Bonder Web. We've got other bondings as well, haven't we? Mist Diffuse and other
we've got
things.
Mist Diffuse, we've got Bond and Repair, we've got all those sorts of things. They work in a slightly different way. This has a paper already bonded to it, so you will trace your design onto that, as Jane's about to show you. We have put Bonder Web in the kit, so that if you are brand new to applique and this is the first time that you've given it a go, you can just copy exactly as Jane is doing now.
So you have got on your Bonder Web, it's got two sides, obviously. It's like paper in its texture. It's got a rough side and a smooth side. The smooth side is like greaseproof paper. The rough side is the adhesive. And what you need to do, and this is why we've put everything in reverse, because you're going to trace off your shape just with an ordinary pencil onto the paper side of the Bonder Web.
Yeah.
So it's literally put it on the top. It's a nice thick line on here, so you don't even need a light box underneath. And you'll just trace around that shape, following the line to the shapes that you need. Now, I haven't put colours or anything like that. I have numbered it just purely so that you know how it goes on. So the face is on first, and then you put the chin in, and then you put the cheeks on, and then the nose, and then I'm going to go into this in a bit more detail, then you put the eyes on. You'd put the ears on first. Now you can see on my pattern there's like a dashed line, and that's because I've made them that size, but they just tuck underneath. And again, I'll go into how I positioned it in a little in a bit further on, just because it's not always easy to see.
Yeah.
When you've got things layered up, like the feet, I'm going to do it with the chest piece because this is the body piece there. That's that piece, but obviously it's in reverse, so it's been traced that way. And then I've traced the chest piece. And what I've done, I don't know if you can see that on here, I've just labelled each piece, because once you've put them onto the fabric and then cut them out, it might not always be obvious which bit's what. And I put the colour on as well, so that I can see, looking back. In your pattern you'll have the main image, and you can look back at the main image and gauge where everything goes. So I'm going to bond the chest piece onto the body piece. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the paper on the chest piece while I bond, on the body piece while I bond the chest piece on. So I'm going to put the chest piece on there, chest piece, I'm saying chest piece onto there. So you peel the paper off. Let's go back to the beginning, back to the very beginning. So you've drawn your shape. I've got the egg there. I've done the spotty and the flower dot, so I've got the stripe piece to do. I'm going to roughly cut around the tracing on the bonder web, just so that I've got, you know, 1/4 of an inch-ish around the shape with my paper scissors, not my fabric scissors.
Oh yeah, they've got paper etched on them, haven't they?
Yeah. Just so it's around the edge. Now, the reason for giving yourself a gap around it, this is adhesive. When you apply heat to it, it melts. And if I cut this on the line, that adhesive would melt past the paper.
Yes.
And go onto the fabric and go onto your iron.
Yes.
So, or would maybe miss the fabric, so you wouldn't get a nice clean, crisp edge. We're going to place this egg onto the fabric on the reverse side. You can position this on this stripe, you can put it any way you like. You might want to have it diagonally, whatever. I'm going to place it so that it's got that pink one in the middle. So you can be as wasteful or as economic with your fabric as you wish. Just a hot iron. You might want to put a piece of baking parchment, grease proof, your is it Duchess sheet? Is it called Duchess sheet?
Goddess sheet.
Goddess sheet.
Yeah, the goddess
sheet.
sheet.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know, but I quite like it.
Over the top, just to protect your iron.
Yeah.
Just in case any of the adhesive does come off onto the bottom of your iron. So that's now, the glue is adhered to the wrong side of the fabric. And then we'll take our fabric scissors and we cut then on the line around the shape. So this gives you a nice crisp, sharp edge. The adhesive helps to prevent any fraying of the fabric. So cut around, you know, on biased edges or anything like that, on curves and things, the fabric doesn't fray. I say it doesn't fray, it will over time. You can just use bonder web and just stick things down if you're not ever going to need to wash it. You know, for a wall hanging, it would probably be okay. But if you're going to sort of use it for a quilt or something like that, you do need to stitch over the top of it just to give it, hold it down, because over time the adhesive will wear away, wash away over a long period of time, not like straight away. So that's the egg shape. So that's the basic of using bonded applique.
Yes.
With this, I've like layered things up.
But you have put numbers on for
I put
everyone
numbers
to follow
on so that
which
you can
one
sort
to
of
do.
see, and you can always refer back to the diagram because you can see how it layers up on the pieces. So I'm going to put this chest piece onto the piece there. I'm lining up those pieces there just so I can see that shape. The easiest way I've found of getting it off the back, because you peel it off the back. Now the thing is, you can start trying to grab hold of the edge, but then this is where sometimes your fabric will fray. So the best way to do it, I've always found, is just to run the point of your pin along the back of the fabric, and it'll go under the paper, and just slide it along, and then you're taking it out from the middle.
If it doesn't want to come off, just try, well, firstly, wait for it to cool.
Yes.
That's one thing. And then secondly, if you haven't adhered it enough,
Yeah,
that's when it won't come off. So that's a little test. If go back and try and join it again.
So now this is like, it feels quite smooth. It's almost, I don't know, it's I was going to say it's like plasticized, but it's not. But you can feel that the adhesive, the fabric will be rough, and the side with it, because if you took all your pieces off and then put them down and you picked it up and you thought, oh, which side's got the glue on, it's smoother.
It's the one that doesn't feel like fabric, isn't it?
Yeah, it's smoother. So then you place that onto the area that you want it to cover, and you just take it to the iron, and again, press it down. You could put a piece of baking parchment, grease-proof, your goddess sheet to protect your iron if you wished. And that's your body part. So, sounds really weird. We're going to pop that on there, round about there. We can maybe just tuck it under a little bit. You can always go back and trim it, making sure that it's in the right place. It might just want to come up slightly. As I say, if you trace this back over, I can't see it when it's lying flat, but if you traced it back over, you could place that underneath and just make sure it's in the right place. You're going to do your eggs. You're going to have an egg there. These are the only ones really that you have to think about where they're placed. This one can be anywhere, it could go like that.
Nice.
But those two just fit in. So this one I'm going to put on first. So I'll take the backing off there.
Have you now that you're starting to put this one together, do you have a favourite over the Cape or the Liberty?
I don't think I do, because they're both going to, I mean, the Liberty is lovely and soft, isn't it? Gentle.
Yeah.
So I'm stepping ahead of myself here. I'm just going to bond this now into position. Now you may have noticed that it didn't fit right to the edge at the bottom, and that's because of the seam allowance.
Right.
There's no seam allowance in this. So I'm just going to slide that under there a little bit. I might, looking at this, might have need to trim it off a little bit here just to take that curve in. And you can help to use your fabric scissors.
Yeah.
You can do that. The hand, I probably haven't put the handle quite in the right place, but this is the point where you can have a little play with it and just make sure that it's in the right orientation, and just take off a little slither at a time if you feel it's not quite right, just so that it'll angle in, and it can just tuck underneath as well, underneath that handle.
I was going to say, you can surely tuck it under there a little bit as well. That gives you a bit of wiggle room, doesn't it?
Yeah. And just maybe just bring it down a little bit, because we don't want to have that seam allowance there. We don't want to have a gap between the seams, really. When I designed the it in the first place, I wasn't having a rabbit sitting behind. I was having rabbits sitting either side, just like silhouettes of rabbits.
Oh, right, okay.
So originally I just put the eggs in and then went back and changed my mind about the design.
That's allowed.
And so just slightly over the top of there, just very slightly, doesn't matter. Now you're going to have an overhang there. You don't want to press that bit for obvious reasons, because if you press that with a hot iron, it's going to stick to your ironing board. You could put a piece underneath it, a piece of greaseproof underneath it to prevent that happening. But when you've got your iron at home, you can just make sure that you don't iron that bit. You can iron it like that, because you're going to trim this bit off. It's just in the positioning of it that you can decide where you want it to go. We'll pop that one. I think I might have that grey one over there actually, and put the spotty one against the grey so it doesn't disappear in. Yeah, I think I'll do that.
So over here, whilst you are busily making bunnies over there, Elizabeth just said to me, "Are you an Natasha? You sit there reading and then you just burst out laughing." I hope Jane realises that you're reading the comments. Yeah, I think she does.
I've got used to that now, because at first I was like, "Why is she laughing?"
No, it's the comment, and then I will then relay the comment that has made me laugh. But so I was trying really hard not to do it, and then of course all I see is low writing. Just use your fabulous heated finger, and did it again. I can't help it. I'm sorry. Can the bunny hang over the top of the handle?
The body part.
Oh, at the body part?
Well, no, not really, because he's behind the basket.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, if you wanted him to, he could be sitting in the basket and he could overhang the top of it. Sure, bunny, you can pat him as you like, really.
There are no bunny police.
Nope. There's nobody going to arrest you because you put your bunny in the wrong place. So that third egg can be put wherever you want, really. You can have it in any position you like.
Free range egg.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So you've got those pieces now and they're overhanging. So just flip your triangle over and line your ruler up with the edge of the triangle and just trim all those edges off. And you might think, well, that's a bit wasteful of fabric, but I did it that way just so that you've got that little bit of freedom to position your eggs as you wish, really. So that's going to go onto there now. So we're going to line those two triangles up.
Oh, fabulous.
Put
We were
them
right to
right
put the
sides
zigzag in
together.
there.
Yeah.
Weren't we right to put the zigzag in there? We went through lots of different spots, stripes, all sorts of things. But yeah, that diamond stripe does look fabulous in there.
Yeah, I haven't put my basket handle on very centrally. I'm just looking at that now, but I don't think it's the end of the world. You can take your time when you're doing it, just to make sure that your basket handle is central and the right places. I recommend pinning this quite carefully at this point because you are working with biased edges and you don't want it to move too much. The Bonder web does give it a little bit of stiffness to the fabric, and the more layers you put on, the stiffer it goes. But it's all right, and it quilts through quite easily, and it doesn't gunk up your needle.
Oh, I forgot to change my button there. I forgot to press the button. Sorry, everybody, looking at an empty table. Oh, it's not scintillating, is it? I was just trying to sort out an order for someone. There you go, Belinda. I've asked SJ if we can have ivory and not cream. There we go.
So we're going to press that now. I recommend you press it on the patchwork side up because you've got that additional stiffness of your Bonder web, and it might not want to go that way. So we'll just press that in place, and then we'll lift that up and away. So if you wanted to, you could just leave it with the eggs in and not do the rabbit. So you could just have a basket of eggs. You could make more eggs.
Well, all your eggs in one basket?
You could put more eggs in there. You could make a flower pattern.
Beautiful. And
do applique flowers. It doesn't have to be an Easter basket.
So you could use this. You could obviously do the Easter bunny, and then you could go on and do ones for the different seasons, couldn't you?
Yes.
Once you've got that basic basket.
So then you've got 2 9 and 7/8 inch squares of the background fabric. You're going to cut these in half through the diagonal, just lining them up carefully. And your rotary cutter. And we're going to sew these triangles onto opposite sides of the square. Quickly do that. And again, you can just fold those in half, finger press them, fold your square in half, finger press, and then you've got the 2 marks there to line up so you know that your triangle is in the middle. Just pop a couple of pins in just to hold it in place.
Pin in. Yeah, because the bunny, he's lovely, isn't he? He does overlap up to the top.
Yes, he goes right across all of the seams.
And with his paws and everything else, he is rather fabulous.
It's funny, isn't it, how you start with an idea in your head, and then as you go through the design process, it changes slightly each time. As I say, I was going to put just like 2 silhouettes of rabbits either side of the bottom of the basket.
You must be proud of him, though. He's a
I think
fabulous
he's
bunny.
lovely. I thought this was more fun because the other design I'd had was quite traditional and a bit more sort of folksy. And I thought, no, this is fun because this would be nice for, well, in your own home, because I quite like it in my, you know, having it hanging on my wall at Easter time. But, you know, for your grandchildren or your children. And as I say, you know, it doesn't have to be an Easter basket. You could put flowers in the basket or other things in the basket.
It's just having that know-how. I wouldn't have known how to make the basket. That's where I would have fallen foul straight off.
And it can be a centre panel of a quilt.
Yeah, well, that's just it, isn't it? So he could, I mean, maybe you've got grandchildren coming along for Easter or anything like that, and to make them, because he would be made into a gorgeous centre of a quilt.
Yes.
And then you could sash around with different colours.
Yeah.
Especially for those of you that are asking for, and then it could be toys or something in the basket.
Yeah. You could put him more centrally and just have him sit in, and you could put him in front of the basket, you know. It's whatever. You can, you know, once you've got the basis of a pattern, you can then adapt it to make it your own.
Of course.
You know, I'm all for people working on a theme, and this is how patchwork's evolved over time, is that people have started off with a basic shape and they've put things, and there's always somebody that says, I wonder what happens if you do this.
Of course.
You know, and this is how we've
is
got so many different
yeah.
patterns and designs.
It's not a craft that should stand still, is it?
No, it evolves over time. So we've put them on the two opposite sides, and so then we're going to put the other two pieces on. And this takes an on-point block and makes it square, if you like. So it's on, it's on from being on point to being not on point. I don't know what the opposite to being on point is.
Oh my goodness.
Square.
Regular.
Yeah, regular.
Yeah. Lo is still on hold to HMRC.
Oh dear.
I would
have you
lost
got a
the will to
phone
live.
that tells you how many minutes you've been held
That's
on
just
hold?
depressing.
You can bill them for your time, because they certainly bill you for theirs.
Yeah, Jane, yeah. It's like me, mine is, my nemesis is DHL and DPD.
Oh,
They're
impossible to
I
get
know,
hold of,
I know, because they're just so busy.
Yeah.
They're so busy at the moment. I do feel for them. I don't think any of them
I
had any idea
say
quite.
that there's a couple of times that I've had to ring HMRC and had to hold for ages. When I have got hold of somebody, they couldn't have been more helpful. They were, you know, they've been really...
They could have picked up about half an hour earlier.
Apart from the fact that
would have been
the world is trying to get hold of them at the moment. And of course they'll be on the same as us, won't they? I expect many of them are working from home. There'll be people that can't be at work. And, oh dear, it's a nightmare.
I guess the thing is we're all trying our best, aren't we, at the moment?
Yes, everybody is working within confinements, aren't they?
Oh, no, wrong one. There we go.
So yeah, we're just sewing these onto the sides just to make that square
So in the instructions, Jane,
Yeah.
does it show you then how to bind it or anything, or is it just the front?
The instructions include the quilting bit and the binding. The instructions for the binding are in there. It's like a mini quilt really, so it gives you the instructions for making the front. If you wanted to make it into a cushion, there are no instructions for that, but we've made cushions in the past, so you could always refer back to the videos for those, for the envelope back. It's quite straightforward. It's a 20-inch square when it's finished.
Yeah.
So if you wanted an envelope back, you'd need half the width of the square, which is 10, and then I always add on 4.5 for the overlap on both pieces. So it would be a 20-inch by 14.5-inch, two rectangles.
Oh, see, I do a third. Yeah, I do half again. So it goes over by a third.
You need to add this inch border just because his ear pops over the top. So just check how wide your square is. It's about 18. So you want 2 strips that are 18 and 2 strips then that are 20.
Okay.
So I'll just quickly do that. And it's top and bottom and side, I think. I don't think it really matters which way round you do it. It's the square, but I may have done it side and then top and bottom. I can't remember, but this doesn't really matter.
The same effect happens,
you get the
doesn't it?
same thing. You get the same effect. So.
Oh dear. The HMRC have stupidly asked Lo to do a survey afterwards. That's going to go well.
I don't think they really want to know what
No.
thinks of their service.
Some opinions are best kept.
Yeah. You know what they say, if you've got nothing nice to say. Oh, bless. Such a frustration.
Now, you see, I don't understand this because, like Claire says, British Gas have an automated voice recognition service, and after loads of "I need help with this" or that, the voice said, "Sorry, we can't help you with this issue at this time," and hung up. That must be the most frustrating thing. What happens if you have a strong accent? Does it just give up and just hang up anyway?
I don't know how it works.
I mean, it's clever technology, but also mightily frustrating.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to quickly just put the top and bottom on and then the side and side. And again, it's just lining them up.
I see pinning. Pin.
Pop the pins in just to hold it while you take it to the machine.
Jane, do you realise that we've gone nearly 2 hours without mentioning much food?
Gosh, that's the first.
Yeah, I know. I was just wondering what to make with the duck eggs that Freddie got this morning. I was like, oh, we've barely talked food this morning.
Yeah. It's all been about hanging on the phone.
Yeah. But, I mean, we are actually making Easter eggs here, so I think that counts.
Have a nice egg sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
You
That's
can
the
make
one.
a nice egg sandwich.
That's the monkey. Talking of monkeys, you know, Theo's down here.
Yes, I spotted him earlier. He's just lounging.
He's actually behaving himself. He's had a busy night of mouse slaughter.
Has he?
So he's, you know, catching some Zeds.
They know, don't they, where the warm places are in this house? He's just under the radiator.
Yeah, there's also a spot. I don't know if the pipes must come quite close up under the carpet.
Yeah.
On one of the landings, and it looks like a really random place to sleep, but you'll often find him there when the heating comes on.
Yeah. There's an area in our bedroom where the pipes must come, like you say, nearer to the floorboards, and that's always nice and warm.
Yeah. And they just scout them out, don't they?
They know. Cats love warmth, don't they? They know exactly where they need to be.
Oh, Elizabeth's got the earworm with Blondie now hanging on the phone.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I've still got me old bamboo go through my head. That's been an epic earworm of massive proportions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. But yeah, every time anybody says bamboo.
Yeah.
So I'm quite pleased that, hang on, is it Slinky Mink or something? Silver Mink.
Silver Mink.
You've done it, not bamboo. Did you actually want to do it in bamboo and then just refuse?
Actually, I was originally I was looking at a colour that was similar to the cape. I don't know why I wanted it to be the same colour. It's by design really, but I thought it was a nice colour to have.
It's a lovely soft brown, isn't it?
Yeah. am rushing this. You will take your time and make sure all the bits are the right size and fit exactly. I'm just slamming them together to just get this finished so we can get the applique on and you can see how I've layered it up and pieced it together.
Oh, Margaret says, I have a soft Scottish accent, further ameliorated, oh that's a good word, by 45 years living in Berkshire. But I couldn't use the speech to text system provided to me by the occupational health. I just couldn't get it to work. Oh, that would be very annoying.
It's when you have to say, when she says to you, I think it's the telephone ones, isn't it? And they say, do you want to speak to Bar? And you say, and you go, yes. And then she says, say yes or no. And you're like, yes!
I just did. Margaret, I used to work for a company many moons ago called Possum Controls. And that was exactly what we used to do, was voice recognition devices. But it was very, very clever stuff. It was the same device that Stephen Hawkins had, and it used to, for those that couldn't, it would speak for you.
Yeah.
It was really, really clever stuff. Far too clever for me.
I think it's really clever. I mean, and I know that we all have frustrations with it, but I just think, really there's somebody there listening and pressing a button. It's like, and laughing.
I'm the person just keeps hitting the star button.
I don't know, do you watch, I don't know if you get to watch Ant and Dec's Saturday Night Takeaway.
No.
But they do these where they send up, it's just a bit of fun, it's a bit like Candid Camera, and they've done this automated coffee drive-through.
Oh, right.
And they'd done this voice recognition, and they got this guy saying, can you say, I'm not a robot? And he would say, I'm not a robot. Sorry, didn't recognise that. Can you say, I'm not a robot? And then they'd wait, and then they'd say, when he'd say, I'm not a robot, after the tone. And he was just like, I'm not a robot! And then they would be like, place your order. And then, of course, the coffee machine would be going mad and spraying them with water. And would you like marshmallows? And it would go, yeah. And it just like all these marshmallows just like piled out. And then, would you like your change? Yes, please. And it was like all pennies. And it was funny. I mean, because it's on the time it is, it's just silly humour, and it was just funny. But it was the fact that they were doing this automated thing, but they were inside there listening, so making it harder.
Perfect. Oh, Lowe's through. Blimey, it's only taken nearly 2 hours.
Well, she's got to stop now and listen to what they say.
Yeah, you see, you thought you wanted to talk to them, but actually it now means you're going to miss the show. My cat crawls into bed with me under the blanket, says Trudy.
Oh.
Half Pint does that. If she can get in, she'd love to.
My mum's cats, when I go in the evening, I put my coat on the settee and they try and get into my coat, like into the sleeve. So funny. I'm just like, because it's like a padded, almost like sleeping bag jacket. And they just try and crawl into the sleeve.
And that's it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hugo, my first cat, he always used to do that. Just crawl in anywhere like that. John Cole Morgan's here. Stitchy Witchy Wednesday. Hello, ladies.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. How are you? So, John is going to post something onto Facebook about 1:30 for you all to watch. We have a little bit of news.
Oh, it's exciting. It's exciting.
He's added some very gentle music to the beginning of it.
That's lovely.
Josh was on the phone when I was downloading it this morning to watch. And he's like, are you just like lulling Jane there? It's very relaxing, and then you get my laugh, which is less relaxing.
Just hoping I've got all the bits now. We'll find out. We'll soon find out if I've lost some of the pieces. We can always make more. Right, so we've got all the bits now. I have layered things up. I've just done one of the eyes, so I'm going to layer up the other eye. Because again, as I said, I've layered up as much as I can before I attach it. I think that's blood. I think I pricked myself with the pin when I was scratching the bits off. So I didn't cut one of the pupils out because they were such tiny pieces, and I thought I'm going to lose that. So I'm just going to cut that bit of black pupil out.
Oh, look at his little paws. We did have another "Mummy, there's a rabbit in my bedroom" situation this morning.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Deceased, I'm assuming.
This one was.
Yeah.
They're not always.
Freddie got a new pet.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'm like, damn it. And we have to explain to Freddie that no.
It's a wild rabbit and it belongs
yeah,
outside.
it has to go back outside. Can't we keep it?
No.
No.
Mummy's probably looking for it.
Absolutely.
I could just see that, yeah, the edge had come off that, so I'm just slipping my pin underneath it there because it's already started to come away. Because you'll find that sometimes the paper decides it's coming away itself.
It's just been helpful.
Yeah, it just aims to please. So I'm just lining that up on there, and I will press that onto there. I'm just thinking, is it that way or that way? Inside, I think. Making sure that the eyes are the right way around, otherwise I'll end up with a cross-eyed bunny.
Oh, I mean, which is another look,
The
right?
paper is still on the back of the white, because
Yeah.
obviously I don't want that to stick anywhere else but the fabric. I'm just looking at the eyes together so that I can just place the pupil on.
Oh, Elizabeth, that's from Theo. Theo is the hunter-gatherer around here. It's from the cat. He's half ragdoll, which means that Freddie can just cuddle him.
Lugged around, doesn't he? Like
yeah, and he never complains. He doesn't let anybody else cuddle him like Freddie does. And there's me doing the whole, make sure you support his back legs and everything, like I was told the cat.
Yeah.
And
he just like under his arm.
Yeah, he does. He literally scoops him up under his arm and drags him around the house. And I'm like, but he has never once has that cat put a claw on Freddie.
No.
Never once. He
Brilliant.
adores that boy. Absolutely adores him.
So what you can do, and as I said, this is in the reverse, but at this stage, it doesn't really matter. Just have a look where the body is, and you'll probably want the face about the middle part there and the chin slightly over the handle. I'm not worried about the ear because that pointy ear will go this side.
Right.
But for this part of the face, now if you wanted to, you could use your fabric marker or even a pencil, and you could just draw very lightly, slightly inside the shape, just so that you've got your positioning.
We've got some new air erasable and wash away erasable pens as well, which would work nicely.
Which will be
for
really
this.
handy.
Yeah.
So, you know, just so that you've got on your fabric some reference points. Now we're going to put the ears on first. You can just trace around that because we know where that's where the eye is. And obviously if you use ordinary pencil and it's just inside, it will wash away.
Yeah, for sure.
So I've just got, we probably can't see it on the camera, but I've got the cheeks there, I've got the actual face part and where the eyes are going to be positioned. That's just enough reference point for me so that I know. So I want to have an ear that goes about there, and the other ear, oops, got bits everywhere, don't lose the nose, and the other ear will go approximately there. You can always layer it up just to check that you're in the right place. You put your cheeks in approximately. You've got a little bit of an overlap on here, approximately there and there. We'd want to put the chin in before we put the cheeks on.
I love his cheeks.
And then the nose, and then the eyes, and we'd have an eye there. Boop.
Gorgeous.
And an eye there.
Gorgeous.
Okay, and then the paws. We've got one going there, and one going there, and then his feet are just either side of the basket. So you can just sort of have a play and position it in.
Oh, he's wonderful.
Where you feel he wants to go. So once you know roughly where you are, and I'm quite happy with that. It's not actually where I drew it over, it's a little bit higher.
Yes, on your light box would help. You could put
definitely.
it under, because you could
put it
flip your...
Yeah.
I mean, you can trace... I might even just end up putting both sides template-wise in to help everybody, and then you've got it. Becky Alexander Frost just wants to eat a big Easter egg right now.
Yes.
It's your fault.
It makes you feel that way.
John's got his mini eggs in his hands. I mean, okay.
Whatever. Whatever.
And Elizabeth says, this is a delight, Jane.
Thank you. So just take it one bit at a time. You'll take your time with this. You'll position things. You can even pin it in place if you want to once you've taken the backing off. Sew it down, iron it down. Obviously, I put the pink bit onto the grey before, and I've left the backing on the grey.
Yeah.
When you're layering up, just, think about your positioning, and you just leave the one that you're going to actually attach to the base, leave the paper on until you're ready to actually stick it on. You just want to make sure on here that your ear you've got at least 1/4 inch gap, because obviously when you come to quilt it and then put your binding on, you don't want to lose the tip of the ear really.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
And I did all of this on my ironing board. So I took all my pieces to the ironing board so that everything was just in position, and I could just get on and take pieces off and then iron them on. Once you've got all the pieces ironed on, you can then decide how you want to sew them down. As I said, you could use a buttonhole stitch. You could use a very close zigzag.
It's wider zigzag, isn't it, with this?
It is. I zigzagged quite closely around the eggs.
Right.
Confession time, purely because as I say, I did the eggs first and then had to put the body on, and I got a bit of a gap, so the zigzag filled the gap in. I didn't have to tell you that, but
But that's the sort of stuff that happens.
These are how things happen.
But also, your first one was part of the design process as well.
Yes.
He is the first sample. The first of his kind, Jane, the first of his kind.
So yeah, it's your quilt. You can do it your way. I just did a straight stitch just inside the edge of the shape around. It's enough to hold it down. It doesn't distract from the actual design.
Now, I am going to put a call out to all dressmakers because, of course, it is the last Friday of the month this week. I thought we had another week. I'm so confused. Time. What is that?
I know,
I just don't understand. And so it means that it is our designer takeover day on Friday, which is going to be with Jennifer Taylor before she goes pop, because she's into single figures now on the old weeks left until
now.
baby number 2 comes along, which is super exciting. Very exciting indeed.
She put a picture up on Facebook of a top she'd made. You wouldn't know she was pregnant.
Oh, she looks phenomenal,
She looks amazing.
Yeah.
Her hair is beautiful. She just...
Properly glowing.
Absolutely gorgeous.
I think this has been a much easier pregnancy this time round.
I think maybe your second one is because you know what to expect, don't you, as well?
Yeah, and also...
the things happen, I know, but...
Aya's only little, so she's still running around after her. You don't get time to think, do you?
No.
You just do, and it flies by. Geraldine says, absolutely beautiful, Jane. You are so gorgeously gifted.
Oh, thank you, Geraldine. That's a lovely thing to say.
Is Jennifer going to use the stretch thread that we mentioned? No, but I will get it in for you, Elizabeth, simply because we're going to be working with a woven fabric. We're going to look at the golden rule. For anybody that has the golden rule, then, this is your chance to stitch along, get it out. And I know, Pam, it has come around quickly, hasn't it? And so, yeah, we're going to look at the golden rule and then actually make one of the garments from the golden rule. Because otherwise, when we do shows on the shopping channels, you only get so far.
Yes, it's very easy, isn't it? You've a limited time, aren't
And
you?
then-
Whereas here we've got that extra.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to
Which
actually...
is a good thing for me, because I know this is going on and on and on and on.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
It's a bit like doing a jigsaw, actually, at this point. You get to the point where you're like, oh yeah, that piece goes in there and that goes on there.
But then it's done, isn't it? And then
Yeah.
that's the lot.
Put his paws on.
Put his paws on. Come on, paws.
We'll put one there, just overlapping slightly on the edge of the basket, just so it looks like he is gripping on. You are going to get shadow through this. There isn't much you can do about it. You could double line your fabric if you wanted to, particularly the white, so you could bond 2 pieces of white together to make it thicker, if you really wanted to. There are some people
got a 5
that
o'clock shadow.
Yeah, there are some people that might find a little bit of shadowing uncomfortable. If that's you, and we all know who we are, then that's the way around it. Just double up your fabric, so it makes the fabric thicker and it doesn't shadow.
Perfect. Oh, Helen said that she'd hand stitch using a blanket stitch.
It'd be
And
beautiful.
that's it. If
And
you've got
again,
the time
you
to do
know,
that, perfect.
that adds to your pleasure of making it, doesn't it? If you like hand stitching and if you love that, you could use decorative stitches on your machine. If you wanted to, you could do a zigzag right on the edge, which would make him look like a fluffy bunny.
You could. The other thing that you could do is to do some decorative stitches on the eggs and
Yes.
decorate the eggs.
Yeah,
That would be fun
you could
too.
use plain fabrics and then add
Because you're going to want to make this a lot, aren't you?
I think it's the sort of thing that once you've made it and you've done the first one, you'll be like, oh, yeah, and actually I could do this with that and I could put that there. And the basket itself is fairly straightforward. It's a simple patchwork basket. As I say, you don't have to put eggs in your basket. You can put flowers in there. A good place for getting applique designs and ideas are children's colouring books, because they're lovely, simple outline drawings,
yeah.
and they make great templates for applique, this sort of applique.
Yeah. Perfect.
And there we go. Now, when I quilted him, I did my overstitching.
Can you move them across?
Yeah, I did my overstitching at this point before I layered him up.
Right. Oh, he's gorgeous.
As I say, I did quite a dense zigzag round here because I got gaps in between. Hides a multitude of sins. Just straight stitching round these shapes here just to hold them down.
Whiskers?
You could put whiskers on if you wanted to. You could put little French knots.
Nice.
Whatever you wanted. It's your quilt if you wanted to. You could make him into a her and add eyelashes.
Oh!
You could put a bow on his head or whatever you wanted to do.
Oh my god, a bow on his head?
Her head. On his head, why not? We're all inclusive here.
Why not?
Yeah, so there's lots of options, lots of different things you can do. So once he's layered up, now we've got some bits of wood in, haven't we? That are...
Did we load them?
I don't know. They're exactly this size. Now I know when we talk about doing quilting, we like to say make your wadding a bit bigger. But we have got some pieces that are exactly
I totally
the
forgot
right
about those.
size.
Yeah, they are exactly the right size.
So if you're comfortable with doing that,
We'll
that'd
get them
be
loaded.
ideal.
We'll get them loaded in the next half hour. As soon as we come off air, we'll go and do it now. But they are just pieces. They're fat quarters of wadding, aren't they?
Yeah.
Effectively, and they do. But
They are, you know, they are literally
yeah.
spot on. There's no overhang or anything. But I used one piece for that and it was fine. I pulled mine slightly at the corner, so it's a bit wobbly, but that's beside the point. I then, once I've got him sewn down, layered it up, I just did 1/4 of an inch-ish outline round him.
Lovely. So it helps them stand out, doesn't it?
So it helps it stand out. I did go through in the ditch on the basket, around the basket and in the ditch. I then went around the eggs as well, just to give them a little bit of a 3D effect. And then I did a 1/4 of an inch inside this border here, just to frame it, and then just did wiggly squiggly in this area here.
I love your wiggly squiggly.
I just thought it'd give it a little bit of, I don't know, texture.
He's gorgeous.
But you can do as little, I mean, even just a straightforward cross hatch would look lovely. You know, a zigzag on there would look lovely behind. So entirely up to you, or just don't add any more to it. You know, once you've got it, you don't have to do anything else in the background. I just thought it would be nice. So there you are. There's the cave version with a grey rabbit.
Perfect. Jane, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So next week is...
We're doing a picnic blanket.
Have you got it?
We? It's not quite finished. It's still in its...
So for those of you that have watched Monday and Tuesday show, and I said this is Jane's going to do the quilt that goes with the picnic blanket. Are you ready? This is part of it.
Because we've got mitered edges of the... Let's just fluff it there.
Oh my goodness.
But you can see how pretty that is.
That's with the fans and the ditzy and the tile print. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh my goodness.
It's coming out lovely.
And this is going to be on next week's show. Hopefully by then we will have the other colourway with us as well.
Yeah.
Certainly it's en route from Australia as we speak.
It's just beautiful fabric to work with. It's just lovely. It is lovely.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Right, ladies and gents, we have got to go. But thank you so very much for watching. And Jane, thank you. And
You're
of course,
welcome.
Jennifer Taylor is here on Friday, 10 o'clock, our usual time. And if you have a look on Facebook about 1:30, then you'll see a little announcement from myself and John.
That's exciting.
And one other. Who could it be?
Exciting.
Alrighty, everybody. I'm glad that we could keep you company low during your 1 hour, 40-minute on hold HMRC experience. That's what we were here for.
Made it a little bit easier for you, Lo.
I feel like we've provided a public service for you today. Everybody take care, and we will see you Friday. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you on Wednesday.
Bye-bye.